Cristiano Ronaldo, vai embora Cristiano Ronaldo, mete, bateu, golo.
Balotelli, Aguero! Posse de bola para Portugal, vai Éder, chuta!
Muito bem-vindos a mais um episódio do podcast dos Panenka. Hoje mais uma parte do Europa Panenka, a falar sobre o Sporting Clube de Braga e a sua campanha na Liga dos Campeões da Europa. Temos hoje a companhia do Vincenzo Credendino, que nos vai falar sobre o Napoli e faz parte do projeto Calcio Napoli 24. Eu vou passar agora ao inglês para poder falar com ele, então vamos a isso. As I said, we are here today to speak about the current Italian football champions Napoli, and we are here with Vincenzo Credendino. Vincenzo, welcome and thank you so much for being with us today.
Obrigado. That's all I can say in Portuguese. It's a pleasure to say with you today, and as we have the chance to speak about this interesting match between Braga and Naples.
That's right. But first of all, I would like you to speak about yourself and about Calcio Napoli 24. How did you start with this participation on this project, and why and how did you become a Napoli fan?
Well, the Calcio Napoli 24 project, I think it started in 2011. I joined this project when this project got bigger and it became a TV. So since 2018, I lead this daily show that is basically about all the stories, all the news about Napoli, football in Napoli. So we cover the news day by day, what can happen about the games, interviews, transfers. So basically, this is our activity. This is our job. I became a Napoli fan when I was really young. I think I had like 6 or 7 years. I was with my family and we were looking at this football match. It was a match between Napoli and Inter of the National Cup. It was the semi-final. And I asked my father for which team we were supporting. And he answered me, we support Napoli for 2 reasons. And they are all equally important. First one is because this is the team of our city. So this can already show you how strict is the connection between the team and the city. I think because Napoli is the only Italian big city that has only one team. You know, Milan has 2 teams, Rome the same. So there is a strict connection between the city and the team. And the second one was because in Napoli played the most important player of all time, like Diego Armando Maradona. So I took this reason as good as they are, and I started to be a Napoli fan.
Yes, and they are for sure good reasons. And that's really interesting because, as you said, Napoli is a very local club, but global at the same time. Napoli is a giant club, but it's very famous for its connection from the city. And talking about connection with the city, talking about Napoli is almost impossible without speaking about what happened last season. Italian champions after 33 years. And I would like to ask exactly this. How was being Italian champions after so long? Which was the impact of this title on the city? The party was as amazing as we saw. All these questions.
Yes, it was amazing. It was something all of the city were waiting, as you said, for 33 years. During these years, Napoli passed a lot of stuffs. After Maradona, Napoli couldn't reach the same level, so it became a slow but constant descending time. In 2004, Napoli crashed, financially speaking. Before Napoli went to Serie B, so there were really difficult years, especially for people like me, for example, that were born during the years of Diego Armando Maradona. For people of 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, we were used to think that Napoli, it was a team to support, yes, but for suffering people, because basically we didn't experience the happiness of the winning. We were just thinking that we have to support this team because of the connection for the city, but we didn't have actually the chance of winning. Something changed with Aurelio De Laurentiis, we have to say this, because he started a slow ascending process. Napoli from Serie C, from then Serie B, then Serie A, then some caps in Europa League, then Champions League. In 2012, Napoli was playing Champions League and almost got out Chelsea, who was the final winner of the Champions League. And then in 2018, the first real chance to win Scudetto with Maurizio Sarri. That was a really good team, and we still cannot answer to all the questions about that year. I am not referring to what happened in the field, but to what happened outside the field, in the hotel, as Maurizio Sarri likes to say, because in that season, not everything is clear. We can say this, and we are not afraid to say this, because there are some missing files in the referee CDs. You know, there is still today something that is not so clear. So I can understand why people gets mad when we speak about that season. But luckily, then came Luciano Spalletti. Luciano Spalletti is the man of the Scudetto, almost at the same time, at the same level of the player, because Luciano Spalletti had a big impact, showed an incredible football, a very spectacular football, and I think he was able to get the best about every player. Lobotka was a good player, but with Luciano Spalletti, Lobotka became one of the most impressive midfielder in all the Serie A. Osimhen was a great forward, but with Luciano Spalletti scored over 30 goals in one season. Kvaratskhelia is incredible, and today we are seeing that Kvaratskhelia, without Luciano Spalletti, in 4 games still didn't reach the same level of last year. So we can say that Luciano Spalletti changed everything. Good for Aurelio De Laurentiis, who picked him. So we have to get credits to Aurelio De Laurentiis for this pick. And to answer your question about the party, you can imagine if you wait for a pizza 1 week, at the end of the week you will be very happy because finally you can eat the pizza. Imagine waiting something for 30 years. So we were really really happy, and the celebration lasted like all the night after the Scudetto. In all of the city was impossible to find a bed. I know many people from abroad, from Germany, from France, from United States, that wanted to be in Naples on that night and couldn't find easily, or couldn't find at all a room, because all the city was full. Everybody knew that the party was going to be big, and it was like this.
Yeah, I'm almost sure that almost everyone would like to be a Napoli fan on that day, because the images were completely amazing. And Napoli, as I said, is a very charismatic club, not only in Italy but in the entire world. But talking about Maradona and one of the amazing players of all time, I would like to ask you, which are today, in your opinion, the greatest names of Napoli?
Victor Osimhen and Kvaratskhelia. It's very easy to answer this question, because the Nigerian forward scored 32 goals last year. Kvaratskhelia was the MVP of the Serie A and was the and was rookie of the year in the Champions League. So it's very easy to say that these two players are the most impressive. Then we have Min-jae Kim, that now he's playing with Bayern Munich, Stanislav Lobotka, that as I already said before, became one of the most impressive player of Serie A, most impressive midfielder of all Serie A. So I stay with the Kvaratskhelia and Osimhen, and I think that 99% of people would answer this way.
Yeah, I can agree. But talking now, we were speaking about last season. Now speaking about current season, the start of Napoli campaign wasn't the greatest comparing to what we saw last season. Napoli is now at 5th position, if I'm not wrong, with 1 draw, 1 loss, and only 2 victories. What's happening this season? Obviously, we have Spalletti leaving Napoli. We are now with Rudi Garcia. But what is happening exactly that things aren't going the best way?
Well, actually, if we just see at the table, the situation is not so different comparing it to last year. After 4 matches last year, Naples had 2 win and 2 draw, so 8 points. Now today the points are 7. So looking at the table, the situation is not so different. But I think it is a big error to look at the table on the beginning of the season, because we don't have a match of matches big enough to make maths count. Now we have to see what the team is doing on the field. And I think we have a lot of reasons for why the fans are not so happy. First one, how Napoli plays. Napoli was spectacular last year. Today is not so spectacular. In the first 2 matches, we saw that Napoli was able to play, in the almost a good way as the last year, and adding to this, Napoli was capable to play a different way of playing. In the first 2 matches, Napoli was able to play a more vertical football. So at the beginning, the fans were happy. Then fans discovered that Napoli was progressively losing the first way of playing. Napoli was only able to play, in the vertical way. So that's the point. At the end, Napoli fans realized that they had less weapons to find enemies. That was the reason for why now they are losing a little bit of hope. And then we see Rudi Garcia. We see Rudi Garcia that changes Kvaratskhelia in twice, even while Napoli had to score, he picked Kvaratskhelia out of the field. And if we say that last year Kvaratskhelia was the most available player of Serie A, fans are full of doubts. They think why the MVP now is often out of the field. What's happening? And in the last match against Genoa, the first attempt to the goal of Napoli was at the minute 72. Napoli passed almost more than 1 hour without making an attempt, without a shot to the goal. So you can see that the situation is very different compared to last year. We lost Kim Min-jae, and Napoli replaced him with Nathan, which is a very interesting player, but we are saying that he's interesting just hearing at others Brazilian football journalists or agents. We had not the chance to understand what Nathan is capable to do. So I think these are basically the points that make the match between Braga and Napoli very, very interesting, because I think that Braga is a good team. They play in a constructive and offensive way. If I had to compare the Napoli of last year with Braga, I would have any doubt, and I would say Napoli starts with, I think, more chances to win. Now that we are playing in Portugal with a really strong stadium and hot stadium, with this Napoli and this Braga, I think that the result is really in doubt.
So you were speaking about Braga right now, and I would like to also make this question. What do you know about Braga, about Portuguese football? Which are your ideas about our league?
I have to say I don't know so much about Portuguese football. I know that Sporting Lisbona does an incredible work in scouting new players. I know that Benfica, is the most famous team of all Portugal. I know Sergio Conceição, the coach of Dragões. Dragões is the right pronunciation?
Dragões, yes.
Of Porto. So we know, the most famous teams of Portugal. About Braga, I saw this team sometimes in the European leagues. I know Moutinho. I know Horta, which is, I think, that the best player, in my opinion. And he's the player, with the more chances to grow. I expect a lot from Horta. And as for what I could see, Braga is a team that likes to play football, that likes to be offensive. They don't like to stay, just in defense. So basically, I imagine Braga that tries to do something, especially as they are home, even against a team like Napoli, that is champion of Italy last year.
Yeah, and Braga especially, I'm not sure, as you said, you're not very updated, but Braga changed a lot compared to last season. They brought João Moutinho, brought José Fonte, brought Rony Lopes, and also confirmed the signing of players that were on loan, like Bruma. So it's a very different team from what we had last season. In the last season, they were already third on Portuguese League, which is a great campaign. And we are expecting to see what they can be able to do on Champions League in a group that is not easy. And I'm like to talk about the group right now. We have Real Madrid and Union Berlin, and I would like to see your expectations about this group.
Well, it's clear Real Madrid and Napoli have more chances, but Union Berlin is a really good team. They had some really good player. They are doing a really good job. I can see last year Napoli scouts went to see a match between Eintracht Frankfurt and Union Berlin. Their objective were two: Lindstrom, and now Lindstrom he's playing with Napoli, and Doeki, central back, which still plays with Union Berlin, and very, very interesting too. So I would say that this group is very, very unpredictable, because Napoli and Braga too has to pay attention to Union Berlin. We know, everybody know Real Madrid, but soon everybody will know Union Berlin too. So let's pay attention to this group. It's very unpredictable.
Yeah, and just on level of curiosity, last season on Europa League, Union Berlin eliminated Braga. They were on the same group, so it's now a matchup again.
A surprise
in the Champions
for
League.
you, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because Braga was on Europa League but got eliminated by Union Berlin, and Union Saint-Gilles was on the same group, and now went to Conference League, then faced Fiorentina and got eliminated. Fiorentina was finalist. But now they face again on Champions League, and a very tough group with Real Madrid and Napoli, because they are, as you said, the favorites. But now I would like to speak again a little bit about Napoli. And you already said about the key players and how the team plays, but I would like to see again your expectation about the game itself, not the two matches, but the game of tomorrow against Braga. It's an away match. Your expectations. Napoli comes from a draw with Genoa, so which are your expectations?
Let's start from the lineup. Napoli had some changes against Genoa in the usual lineup, so I would say that the players that will play on Champions League match will be the players that Rudi Garcia maybe trusts more than others. So Meret as a goalkeeper, then Di Lorenzo and Matias Oliveira as fullback, Rachmani, Juan Jesus as center back, then Lobotka, Anguissa and Zielinski in the midfield, and these three attacking players as Kvaratskhelia, Osimhen and Matteo Politano. I expect a really tough match, because Napoli still has qualities and still has quality players. Against Genoa, even if Napoli was not able to shot on target until 72 minutes, then the big quality of some players allowed Napoli to have a draw against Genoa. And I am speaking about Raspadori and Politano, who entered in the game starting from the bench. So if I have to say, the best chance of Napoli in this moment is the big technical quality of those players. I know that the staff are not going well in these days, but if you have on the bench people like Raspadori and Politano or Lindstrom, this is something important in the football, in the modern football, because you can add, you can keep the quality level high. So I think that this stuff can make the difference in Champions League. Or, well said, this is the best stuff that Napoli can have in Champions League today.
Right. So, as you said, basically Napoli becomes as, and especially what they did last season, comes to Braga as favorites to this match, but we can never make sure, because it's a very balanced. Sure. Exactly. So what we can expect is a very great match of football. And all I can say is thank you so much for coming with us today and talk about your experience, your opinions. And I would like to end with a final question, not about the game itself, but about Napoli. We talked about Lindstrom, about Raspadori, about Nathan, and I would like to ask about, in your opinion, which was and which is, for now, the greatest signing of the season.
The greatest signing of this season.
Raspadori, I know it's not a full signing because he was already on loan, but
yeah. Raspadori. Can I answer Raspadori?
If you could answer another one, it would be great.
Yeah, because Nathan, we didn't see Nathan. Lindstrom, basically, we didn't see Lindstrom. Cajuste, we saw him a little bit, but he's not ready to take the place of Anguissa, and I don't know if he will ever be. So I have to stay with the last season options. So I have to say Jesper Lindstrom. I have to say that he's the best transfer shot. We can look forward to see him, and let's hope he can do good stuff in Napoli too, because Napoli needs it.
Okay, so again, thank you so much for coming with us and chatting with us, and I will now end it in português, if you don't mind.
Ok.
Então, esse foi mais um episódio do Europa Panenka, desta vez com o Sporting Clube de Braga e com o Vincenzo a falar sobre o Nápoles Braga, que temos amanhã às 8 da noite. Espero que tenham gostado e muito obrigado.
Posse de bola para Portugal, vai Éder, chuta!